I would like to firstly acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land here in Australia, and also my respect to different lineages and also the political leaders of Australia and Tonga. This program is part 2 of our multimedia series known as Hu'akau and World Scholars. 2 weeks ago, I talked with Professor Craig Fry from the Australian University, and this is part 2 of the same series. Professor Inoke Hu'akau, the Chancellor of the Hu'akau University, with his theory on universalism. So I think 2 hours ago, Luciane was talking to Inoke about his life in general, and Inoke has touched some of the issues there of his experience of education in the Pacific and at the University of Artemisi. I'm the Dean of the University, and Inoke is the Chancellor. And it's a great privilege for me. This is the first episode of part 2, first episode of Inoke's theory of universalism, and part 2 of Hu'akau and World Scholars. Inoke, without further ado, I will pass on to you to start unfolding this theory that you have been talking about, you have been sharing with us in the past years, but I haven't experienced, I haven't seen you try to put them together into a coherent work, but I think this is just a start, tip of the iceberg, this episode 1. Malo Inoke.
Yes, you allow me to use the first name, Siwa, in our dialogue. The problem that we are facing with reality is that it has been for so long come from the classic ages, and they talk about something called the ideas, and on the other hand, the reality, right? And things that our senses and experience brought to us. And on the other hand, they talk about the ideas in our head, and some of the classical philosophers saying this today lean toward the idea that is the basic form of reality, that is the foundation of reality, that you have in ideas, right? And if Plato talk about it, and every ages they talk about it, then on the other hand, you have the kind of the later, the people that talk about ideas as the form of reality, in later ages we call them rationalism, right? And most of the chairmen and the continental philosophers do it. The other side, those who talk about reality, they are talking about particulars, right? Particular things, right? That our senses and experience have given us. So are we talking about those particular things as the only thing that exists and rule out the ideas on the other side? Or we are talking about one thing? We are talking about existence, and part of it is in our mind when we think about it. We may make them into substance later, but that doesn't mean that they are unreal when we think about it. Because the idea there, the way I'm thinking about it, is that when you think about something, that is something. That is what we call reality. It's a real in your mind. It's not yet real outside your mind, but it's real inside your mind. But when you work on it and apply it or build it, right,
Yeah.
it goes from ideas to particulars, to reality. Right? I lean toward that instead of being theoristic about it, right? Being theoristic, you either choose one or the other, which is the traditional in philosophy. When we talk about reality, right? The existence, maybe they are the side of the same coin,
Yeah.
right? Different side of the same coin. You look at the ideas, you look at the things that are, because it has been established that we cannot rely solely on our senses. There are times that there is a lot of mistake, and
Yeah.
it does not give us the right perception of reality. There are times. But when we look at it as both as part of the same thing, I think that's why we are talking about universalism, right? Universalism, we are talking about that because traditionally people talk about universal and particular, right? When they talk about reality, they talk about universal and particular. I lean towards thinking that they may be, it doesn't help us if we talk in a theoristic way to choose which one is it, to choose between the ideas and the particulars, the things that out there by our senses, right? And we don't have to choose. We have to treat them as the same. Right?
Same thing.
That's what it is. That's existence. That's the EI as we speak in Tonga.
In Tonga, yeah.
And it will help us, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And we started to talk about that at Luau, and we
Yes.
pursue that kind of thinking along that line. And we'll see what it comes out to. Right?
So are you saying,
Maybe next year
Inoke?
we are more.
Yeah. So what you are trying here to unfold, eh? It's the. Are you saying that's the beginning of the discussion or discussing of knowledge and existence? That they started in the beginning with the approach to discuss universal or universalism or universality on one hand and particularity on the other hand. But if I'm right, you just said that they are two. You don't want to look at them in a dualistic, dichotomic way, but you would like us to see them as two different things of the same thing, two sides of the same coin, the concept of universality and particularity. But what I have picked up that it's like you saying that this is the beginning of the discussion of knowledge and philosophy, especially in the Greek tradition. Am I right there?
Yeah, because traditionally when we talk about existence, right? When we talk about existence, we tend to talk. We accept that things out there you can touch, you can experience, exist. We accept that.
Yeah.
Right? Then other people talk about it's not reliable. It is not reliable. To rely on our sense and experience is not reliable.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing that is so holistic and so complete and it has a value is what is in our mind, right? Then they come to understand that we can think up of something like mathematics,
Yeah.
think up something in our mind, right? The idea of it. And you can work in a lot of ways on doing that in your thinking. Then the question comes in, are we talking about reality? Are we talking about existence or different kind of existence? Traditionally, the way they are treated is that they are talking, say, in the world of ideas, right? Which Plato mentioned, right?
Yeah. The world of forms.
Ideas is, yeah, the most reliable existence. Down the line, along this line of thinking, and down through the ages, then people always talk about existence in a dualistic way.
Interesting. Yeah.
And we have to choose between that, whether the ideas are real, more real than particulars, than the world out there, the things from our senses out there. Which one is more real?
Yeah.
Right? I tend to think they are both. Right? We don't have to choose because once we have an idea in our head, a time lapse between ideas and implementing it does not count, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can implement it, and you can touch it, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
Right? On the other hand, there is the things that you already like road houses and things like that.
Already experienced.
So it affects the metaphysics when they talk about existence. It affects knowledge when they talk about epistemology.
Yeah.
Right? It became a big issue in both. And then you have to create what you call an ontology.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
An ontology is the line of particulars in existence, everything that you listen. Because the question, what is there? Right? But to me, I tend to think this way.
Yeah.
That we don't have to be dualistic about it.
Yeah.
We create dualism because we are forced to choose between this and that. Right? If we are not forced to choose, but accept a more holistic version of existence, then we don't go through that process. Because there is lots of, for centuries, there is a lot of argument. A lot of argument by philosophers. One side is pursuing that, one side is holding up that theory. Right? And the mathematician is sort of sway in the middle about the reality of what they have. Right? But that is the way I see it. Siwa, maybe when we formalize it in the sense later, we might come up with another issue or different issue about it. But a way of talking about it, this is the way I talk about it at the moment.
Yeah. So in that in that respect, Noke, we have universality and we have particularity. As you have explained, they are two sides of the same coin. And you mentioned also that they are both real in the mind and out there. Yeah? And you also talk about with my understanding, you try to lay the grounds for our talk and also for the future. So we have the ideas which you claim to be real as the particular occurrence or the events out there. So it seems to me what you're trying to say, that our ideas in the context of universality or universalism is the same with the particular occurrence of whatever happening around there, outside from the mind, even outside in the environment or in the universe, but they are both there. They are both exist. Is that what you're trying to say, yeah?
Yes, you are. They are both reality. They are both part of the existence. Right? They are. Because you cannot trust your senses sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't have a feeling, there is no way that you can feel there's something there. Right? If you are blind, if there is a disability in your senses, your perception of reality is different. Right?
Yes.
I think that is why the classical philosophers lean more toward, like Plato,
Yes.
lean more toward the ideas, right? Because ideas seems to be holistic, untouchable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You cannot corrupt them.
Yeah.
That's why they lean more toward that. But then the translation that later get into the same idea is that the modern philosophy, the contemporary, tend to choose which one is right, and the ideas or that one, and they become too holistic from since then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
That's right. Yeah.
But what I'm looking at is that what I'm looking at with in the frontal point of view is that they are there. Whether
Yeah.
they are in your mind yet to be formalized
Yeah.
into particulars, they are there. Whether it's out there and you can touch it, they are there. It's the same sort of existence. Right? And then we sought to move away from universal and particulars.
Okay. Okay.
Put up a new idea, a new word, universalism for that approach. Right?
It's. Are you saying? Okay. Can I come
Instead
in?
of choosing,
Can I? Yeah. You saying? Universality, particularity in its discussion throughout history. So what we are and what you're trying to add in is the concept or the theory of universalism, which is the combination of the two, isn't it?
yes, that's the idea. You don't have to choose. They are different aspects of the same thing. Right? And I think its implication and its application to other program like global program like sciences, other sciences, it will. I feel now, see what that it will change
Yeah.
some ways our thinking about a lot of things. And that is it. I feel good about it. And we may, when we will go to Tonga, we will sit down and discuss it with our students.
Yes. Yeah.
And see what are its implications. If it has some consequences, what are its implications when we apply it to different things, different sciences.
Yeah.
When we say we go in and we don't ask what is real and what is not real.
Yeah.
Right? That question is sort of superfluous.
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we concentrate on the two aspects of reality and try to form something with it
Yeah.
and try to apply it. I think it will change in lots of ways
Yeah.
a lot of science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but I think we have spent too long. But the same idea, because you go to the East, China, and they have the same idea. And you go to the Western philosophy, they started on the same idea as you are. But when we go East, the Western one talk about day and night, the extreme, right? Day and night, too. You can't have day without the night. You can't have that. It's cycle,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Cycle. What what the
Yin and
Eastern come
yang.
up with is that they are part they are part of the same thing, right? They are part. The complete part is that you don't see separately to the day without night,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but you look at the complete cycle,
Yeah.
right? You look at the complete cycle. That is the reality.
Yes.
It's complete.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other, right? Okusi and Kaili, Professor Kaili talk about the Hoa
Yeah.
from our Pacific Polynesian way of thinking there. We have the concept of the Hoa.
Of the
The
binary.
Western philosophy already talk about
Yeah.
right? Yeah, to talk about the Hoa, but they did not spell out that the Hoa is a complete thing,
Yeah.
like the Chinese,
Yeah.
right? The Chinese, you have like the seasons. You have the season as a complete thing.
Yeah.
You can't have the seasons when, say, only one of them is the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have four that create the whole nature of what
Yeah.
you call season and whatnot. Right? Instead of saying this is one extreme, this is the other extreme. The Eastern thinker said that it's not the extreme. It's two part of the same thing.
Of
It's
the
part
same
of
thing, yeah.
Complete
Yeah.
thing in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nature is like that, right?
So, Noke,
Because
so are you saying that, bringing the Eastern philosophy about the interconnectedness of day and night with that example, do you think that
yes,
Plato, it seems that he started with separating the ideas on one hand and the experience on the or particularity or ideas or universals or things or particularity. Do you think that Plato was the first one who separated them into different directions, or he was just the one who was trying to pinpoint there are ideas there and there are experiences there, and they are two of the same things, because it appears in some of Socrates' dialogues.
A lot of classical philosophers of pre-Socratic toy around with the idea, right?
Yeah.
They play around with that kind of thinking. But it's up to Plato to put it down on paper.
Yeah, yeah.
right?
That's right.
Put it down as a theory,
Mm.
and he rely on the ideas more than realities,
Then we are-
right?
Can I come in there,
That's
Noke?
why he tend to say that
No,
what we have,
Noke, can
yeah,
I come in there? You mentioned the ideas Plato was talking about, and then reality on the other hand. Can you clarify that? Are they two different things there, or they are, they come back to the conceptions of two sides of the same thing?
yeah, that we talk about Siwa, we talk about the meaning of the word, and we still have, when we say reality, we mean something out there, right?
Okay,
We'll get
okay,
there to that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
now, when we talk about reality in the sense of universalism, when you
yeah,
talk about reality in the sense of universalism,
yeah.
it's the same, whether you touch it or not.
Okay,
But as long as it's in your head,
yeah,
you form the idea, it is as real as
yeah.
anything else.
Okay, yeah,
Right? Because of the Taoist, it's the same as the thing we call power,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We call it matter.
yeah,
We don't see it, but
yeah,
we can feel,
yeah.
right? We can feel
So,
it working.
so if we feel, then it simply means that it's there, it's existing. Yeah,
Yeah. Then we go to an unnecessary differences,
yeah,
unnecessary difficulties.
yeah,
Like, what about your emotion? You can
yeah,
feel it,
yeah.
right? But it's not real. It is as real as anything. If
That's
you
right.
feel it, if you
Yeah,
think it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It is as real as you don't have to say that that thing is less real than what is out there.
That's right. Yeah,
And I think when we go to Tonga, we can sit down with our guys and develop this. And I think it will have a lot of
yeah,
indication on the way we do science.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Because I think because of this dualism and
Yeah,
dichotomy in the way we
yeah,
talk about existence,
yeah,
it
yeah.
affects a lot of sciences.
That's right.
Negatively.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is
Yeah,
we do the easy way of talking about it. But that
yeah,
is a very, very big topic.
yeah. And
Everything to think about.
yes,
But
I'm
as
so
long
glad.
as we have our teeth
Yeah,
in it,
I'm so glad, Inoke, that you you are willing to put forward your theory or the Loaun theory of universalism, because what you have highlighted and you have shared with our audience, it's new, especially in the Tongan context. It's not new, the discussion of universality and particularity, but what you try to unfold with the concept or the theory of universalism is very interesting, because as I said before, you talked about it, but you haven't shared with us in this manner today. Eh? Because some people, as you mentioned, talk about ideas as something else in a more speculative way, differently from experience on a practical way. But you have highlighted in the past few minutes that your theory or the Loaun theory of universalism, particularity and universality, or day and night, they are two sides of the same thing within the totality of the theory of universalism. Eh? I'm not sure whether I'm coming in the right
it has
direction.
another implication.
Yeah.
It makes the immediate implication that I can see is
Yes.
when we talk about time-space,
Yes.
right? When we talk about time-space, we tend to say that something is more real than the space is more real than time,
In time. Yeah.
right? When we put time-space, how can we relate the, the, the nature of what is real is that keep on changing, right?
Yes.
Keep on changing. But when we talk about time and space,
Yeah.
we incorporate changes into it.
Yeah.
And with the dualistic way that we talk, we sort of undermine the important. At one time, we undermine time, we undermine space.
Yeah.
We look at when we look at change,
Yeah.
right, in things around us. But this way of talking, we don't have that difficulty.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk
Yeah.
about time space only.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
We talk about it in a way that incorporate the change that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
They are
Because
like
sometimes,
they with space and
people
time
talk
in
about
the.
time.
Yeah. 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 Because you trying to
They
explain.
talk about time.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes they talk about time,
That's right.
right? It's
Yes.
as real as anything. It's okay because time is the idea of unitizing. The only difference that we do for time is that we unitize it. Right? It's an unit.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? When we talk about time in general,
Yeah.
in universalism way, we
Yeah.
talk about change. We talk about change that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if we particularize it and unitize it as time,
Yeah.
that's the only way we do. And it is a Western invention,
Yeah.
right? A time. We didn't talk about time that way.
Are you
Talk about
saying?
time in the context of change.
Yeah. Are you saying, Inoke, that change is like the universal concept, and then we have time and change? I mean, time and space is the two particular occurrences of change.
We superimpose time
Yeah.
on change to explain it. Right?
Yeah.
We superimpose it. And the way I notice it is that most old civilization, very classical civilization around the world, did not unitize time
Yeah.
as the science do now.
Yeah. Yes, they have
talk
done.
about the change.
Yeah.
Right? The time as we have it now, when we unitize it, is a new invention,
Yes.
and we superimpose it on reality to
Yeah.
explain the change.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of people say time is the reality. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Change is the reality. A change in space is the reality.
Yeah.
Time is superimposed on it,
Yeah.
right? To explain the change. That's why.
Yeah.
So, for universalism, we talk about change in time.
Yes.
And change in space.
Yeah.
Right? Change of what is in reality wherever it is.
Yeah.
Right? A change of ideas. Change of what everything changes.
Yeah.
Right?
Where time and space are there.
Time, we saw,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we use to unitize.
Yes. To
Because
unitize. Yeah.
we talk about time in second, nanosecond, and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yes.
It is a new invention.
Yeah.
Right? But If you go to any old civilization, they still talk about space and change.
That's right. Yeah.
That is why in Tonga we have it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Time is super important. Whether you build a house in one day or whether you build it in 3 months,
Mm.
depends on you superimpose the time. You can do it at different time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you are superimposing the event, what is important is the event.
Yeah.
That's how we treat it. Time,
Yeah. Mm.
petitioning. What's
Yeah.
important is the event, and
Yeah.
whether it take 2 days or 3 days or 4 days doesn't matter.
Inoke.
But if you build a house, the important issue is that whether the house is complete and when.
Yeah. Are you saying time is a social phenomena that we impose on things, and it's not a natural phenomenon? Is that what you're trying to say? Are you saying that there's no time in nature or only in imposition? Can you clarify that?
Time is a human. Yeah, time is a human invention to explain change.
Yeah.
Eh? It's not. It can be real because it is an idea. Right?
Yeah.
But we cannot sort. We make the distinction to be clear that when we talk about reality, we are talking space and change. Then time is a new invention to
Okay.
explain change.
Yeah.
And we superimpose. If you see Tonga, India, the Arabic world,
Yeah.
we behave time for Tonga, time for it's worse with
Yeah.
the old civilization. Right? The
Yeah.
Arabs is time for Arabia. Because they did not unitize time as we are now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they talk about change and reality and space.
Yes.
So we will sort of work on this idea and see if we can, because this is the first time we talk about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
So.
we might have time in Tonga to scrutinize it and
Yes.
see what are its
Yeah.
implications
Yeah.
on other sides.
Yeah. I'm very okay. Excuse me. I'm very impressed when you talk about. You mentioned we deal with change in reality or in nature. Yeah? Change in space. And then time, we impose time, and it's also a scientific concept that, and then we impose time on change or reality. But reality in nature or society, they change. That's the essence of things in themselves, whether it's in the mind or out there. Things are changing. They change all the time, and very very interested, very fascinated with that explanation. Okay, if you clarify that again, please.
Yeah. And to explain that change, that's why we invented time.
Yeah.
Because changing second, changing hours,
Yeah.
changing nanosecond,
Yeah.
right? To explain it.
Yes.
But everything around us changes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Then the reality
Yeah.
or existence is more
Yeah.
the thing we know, space
Yeah.
and change.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, for example, politically, right?
Yes. Yeah.
sometimes they say, oh, it's time, right? It's time, the time is changing, and things
Yeah.
like that. No, we are not talking about the time in changing. We understand it to explain this. It is the event we are talking about.
Yeah.
And sometimes we say that time justifies change, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, right? We look at that event. The event is that the event change. We don't make time as an excuse to change something, right? Because the change is there.
Yeah.
Because when we impose time and we apply it to political, social, and things like that,
Yeah.
then we have to put a question on top of it. Whose
Yeah.
time are you
Yes.
talking about?
In whose interest?
Time
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
My time or your needs?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
These are the type of questions that we have to. But I think that complication comes out because of we mishandle the way we talk about it,
Yeah.
the way we see time and change and space as part of reality.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
against you,
Yeah.
we sort of
Yeah.
short down
That's right.
chunk of
Yeah. I think, Noke, we're coming to the end of our first episode. And I think you have laid, as you say, the main concepts, the foundation for your theory or the Loawan theory of universalism. I would just like you, Noke, to wind up the whole thing, and could you please again put the discussion of time, space, and change into the beginning, the first things we talk about, which is universality, particularity, universalism, or ideas and experience, or ideas and things out there from the mind. Can you wind up or finish up by just share with our audience where is time, space, change in our theory of universalism or ideas and universality and particularity? I am sure you talk about it and later the founding ideas, but that's what I would like you to see if you can finish with that, and then we'll quit for the day.
What we talk about here, we created what I believe to be an unnecessary way of talking about existence and reality.
Yeah.
By having to choose whether we talk about the idea or whether we talk about particular thing in existence. Right? What universalism that we promote is that you don't have to choose. Right?
Yes.
They are sort of 2 points of the same thing.
Yes. Yeah.
You talk about it, you talk about reality. It has 2 aspects to it. One aspect start with the idea
Yeah.
and flow on to the other one. Right?
Yeah.
Because who knows? You can make the idea as a substance. Think about it. Pure.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? Like you think about a house in architecture and then
Yeah.
you put it down.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, what we see, feel with our senses is as real,
Yeah.
but they are a complete whole of way of talking to a complete whole of reality or existence.
Yeah.
Right? And we say, oh, time, space. Right? Where is the change? Right? Because
Yeah.
we see space and change.
Yeah.
But if we cannot put the way we talk about time in
Yeah.
its real context,
Yes.
that it is a human invention that is superimposed to explain the change, the nature of reality. Then we then we have a chop suey like we talk about politics, right?
Yeah.
If we don't straighten it. But this is the basic of the ideas that we have to choose, that we have to work on.
Yeah.
Out.
Yes.
In the near future, we have in Tonga, I'm looking forward to go to Tonga to discuss it, to have our seminar on these things, these ideas. But that is what we are talking about today, Siwa.
Yeah.
I hope the people start thinking about it and they can criticize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Discuss.
Yeah.
There may be time space may come in and say that, oh, we cannot talk about that. They are concerned. What do they mean?
Yeah.
Right? Exactly when we see the implications of what we are talking about
Yeah.
as a theory, it will have a long-term impact on a lot of sciences, the way we see sciences now.
Yeah.
Those two only see what is a mouthful,
Yeah.
to apply in the future, but we'll keep working on it.
Yeah.
Right? We keep working on it, polishing it. I don't know whether Opusi and those guys were sitting with the Tava theory.
Yeah.
I don't know how they are doing, but the implications of what we talk about today, maybe they will think about it.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Inoke. I think we have covered the main concept or the main ideas for the theory of universalism. But malo obito for your time. We're going to come back in the future, maybe a few weeks from now, and continue with this theory of universalism. But malo albito, and thank you for people who were listening and watching us, and for your feedback. Malo albito. We'll come back in the near future. Malo.
Thank you, Siwa. Malo.
Malo.